As I got older, I talk about in the show, there's one time where I'm very angry and I'm depressed, and I leave my birthday party, and Molly's there, and I just leave her, and I go downtown, and I see this bird singing, chirping on a branch, and I think, oh, it's celebrating spring, how beautiful. And then all of a sudden I realize I don't hear a thing. I just see this. And at first I thought I did. My brain saw this, and it played the memory of a bird singing from when I was a child. And that was the first time I saw how my brain kind of adjusts and does things, adapts. Another thing about hearing loss is a lot of people that go and get hearing aids, they put them on and it sounds like a train wreck. It's horrible. And they take them off and they put them in their drawer. It takes about 2 months, 8 hours, 10 hours a day of wearing them to get used to hearing the train wreck, and your brain moves the train wreck to the background, and then you focus more on the sounds of trying to understand what people are saying.
The brain is amazing when it's reconfiguring. You said, I believe you said this, that a deaf person loses connection to people. A blind person loses connections to things.
Right. Helen Keller said that.
It was Helen Keller.
She's deaf and blind, and she said going deaf is probably worse than going blind, is what she said. Because a deaf person loses the connection to people. The blind person loses the connection to things.
I knew I'd heard it before. I thought it was you, Helen Keller. Yeah. Exactly, that's who it was. And that connection to people, I can't imagine.
It's very isolating. It's an invisible disability. And what I found from doing this show, people come up to me after the show and they start talking to me, and it makes them more aware of hearing loss. Most people don't understand hearing loss. When I go to a theater and I say, look, I have to sit in the front row, I'm severely hearing impaired. They don't know what to do with me. I'm not in a wheelchair, I'm not limping, I'm talking. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong with this guy. They think I'm trying to pull a trick or something just to get to the front of the line. So it's an invisible disability, and that makes it even more difficult in certain ways.
How do you hear the notes? How do you know you've hit A or C sharp?
Well, I can hear the notes on the guitar. I can distinguish them better than I can distinguish human speech. Because a C note on a guitar, it's not D, C, B, G, it's in a certain place. But when you're speaking, you say D, C, B, I can't tell what you're saying. So I can discern the notes on the guitar better than I can speech. And also, my body has a memory from all those years practicing. And I think I do it with my body and my nervous system and memory. Memory is a lot of it. It's the way it feels coming out of my body when I'm singing.
What was it like for you after 15 years not playing music to return to the stage?
Well, at first I wanted to go right back into the clubs and start doing the music again like I did. And I tried doing it in Berkeley and San Francisco. But if there's any sound going on, I can't, it's too noisy. I can't tell if the guitar's in tune. I can't tell if I'm singing in the same key. I just get overwhelmed with sound. So it was, I couldn't do it. So I put the guitar aside and I started doing theater, solo performance at the Marsh Theater in San Francisco. That's where I developed all my shows. And after the first show, but I wanted to sing. I was going to sing, and I sing in every one of my shows, little songs from the period, from that era. But then the second show, my brother sang like Roy Orbison. I started learning to play the guitar, so I brought the guitar in. And then every show, the guitars come in more and more, because with these digital hearing aids, and everyone's sitting in the audience being perfectly still, I can hear the guitar well enough, and I can sing. So I thought I gave up the guitar, but actually I just created a framework unknowingly for the guitar to come back in.
Because a musician's connection to his instrument, be it your voice or your guitar, is powerful, very powerful. You were the nicest boy in high school, apparently.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Didn't cuss, a really good guy.
I promised Grandma Katie when I grew up I'd be a good man, I wouldn't smoke, I wouldn't drink, I wouldn't cuss, and I wouldn't be a bad man like Grandpa.
Grandpa was a drinker?
I think he was, yeah.
Did you know
I never met Grandpa. No.
Did you know your father?
No, no. And my second show is about not knowing my father. So.
Your show is not all about pain.
Oh, no, I didn't want people, it's a sad story in a lot of ways because I'm trying to show you what you really go through, the highs and the lows of something like this. But I like being funny, and so I sprinkle comedy throughout. There's one scene where it has nothing to do with hearing loss, but it needed some funny stuff there. So I water ski an Arctic bog to impress Molly and nearly freeze, you know what.
Yes, you know what. I don't have those, but I know what.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that you would water ski in a bog in Alaska to begin with is a bit odd.
It is odd.
I'm sure all of the people came to the shore or to the edge
in the rain gear.
wondering, what's wrong with that guy?
Right, right. Mm-hmm. But hey, the show must go on, anything for attention.
It's a close to God experience, in a way.
Yeah.
And not. Your orange Carmen Ghia, one of my favorite.
Bright orange Carmen Ghia convertible. It's sort of a sexy version of a VW Bug.
Yeah.
That was my car in Alaska. That's the car I cruised in, air-cooled. So I had to wear my parka and muckalucks while I'm driving and wiping the window off, but at least I look cool.
At least you look cool. I love Carmen Ghias. They were great cars. You're linked to birds, too. You talked about birds and your grandmother, but the raven, certainly the shapeshifter.
When I first go to pick up Molly and we go outside to get in my orange Carmen Ghia, this raven hops on the hood of the Carmen Ghia, and I'm going, shoo, shoo, and she says, oh, don't do that. Ravens are really smart. The natives call them shapeshifters. They believe they can take on the shape of a man. And I'm thinking, shape of a man, you know. I've never trusted ravens. You know, they're kind of sneaky, and they got those double bird blinking eye, like, no, they're open, they're closed, don't even sound like a bird. And she talks about this native myth where the raven, in the beginning the world was dark, and the raven put the sun in the sky to shine and light the world so man could see. So what happens when I'm playing at the Fancy Moose Saloon, Big Earl comes in one night, and I don't realize it, but he's the fastest finger picker in the Yukon, okay? And he says, hey, I'm Earl. You remember, you probably heard of me, right? Say, I was wondering if I could borrow your guitar and do a couple tunes for my friends over there. And he's sort of shape-shifting a little bit on me, and he's trying to steal my girlfriend. So Big Earl, the shape-shifting raven man, is in the show.
And another Ring of Fire.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So to speak, like, yeah, but you let him play, and he didn't steal Molly away, and all worked out. These are true stories, right?
Yeah, yeah. Everything is coming from my real life, yeah. The order of it's changed. Maybe it didn't happen with that particular. All 5 of my shows are drawn directly. They're like 80% autobiographical.
Bringing me up to the minute today, you live in San Francisco?
Correct.
Play in San Francisco?
I developed all my shows at the Marsh Theater in San Francisco. They call it a breeding ground for solo theater. And I work with David Ford. He directs me. He's like the guru of San Francisco solo performance.
Oh, great.
And I love Vancouver. This is my 8th. I've been up here 8 summers in a row doing my shows.
I suppose you want to immigrate or something. That'll be next.
Yeah, I thought about it. Yeah.
I thought about it. So the Havana, 4 days at the Havana for you, starting March 26th. That's Wednesday, tomorrow. Yes?
Correct.
Yeah, tomorrow. 4 days, 8 p.m., the Havana on Commercial Drive. How nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Randy Rutherford. And I'm sure this is available too, right? You can buy. Can you buy this?
I think that's promotional. I'd have to talk to Kelly about it. That has excerpts like from 4 of my shows.
Okay. So maybe one day.
But I'll sell it to you if you want.
Okay, fine.
Maybe one day. Yeah.
I'll give you $20. Okay.
20 bucks. I'll sing Ring of Fire for 20 bucks.
Coming up, the musical maven Holly Arntzen communes with voices of nature, stays true to her roots, and shares her songs with Canada's charming children. Stay with us for the dulcet tones of BC's delightful eco diva.